Brace yourselves. Here we go. This is Our Android Week with Alan Firstenberg in New York, published author. Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia. Duke Carrico in Kingsport, Tennessee. Kadeaus Couloute in Newport Beach, California. And in Menifee, California, Pam Adger. This is Our Android Week. Good to have you with us. I am your humble host, Dan McDermott. And I want to talk about my not-so-humble friend, Alan Firstenberg, real quick, for three reasons. One, because in his new book, he gives a plug to this show. Two, because I'm basically whoring myself out now to give a shameless plug for his book, which you should buy, and I bought today. Can you believe he made me pay for the book? And third, because you have until, I think, 6 a.m. Pacific time. If you're watching this live,
5 a.m. Pacific time, that's 8 a.m. Eastern.
And tell me why they should buy today if they have any. Tell us quickly about the book and why they should buy it today. Right? They should get on the phone and buy it today for the discount. And tell us what the discount's about. What's unique about O'Reilly?
Okay, so the book itself is Designing and Developing with Google Glass. It's the book that Jason Salas and I wrote together. It is obviously about Google Glass, programming for Google Glass, thinking about Google Glass. We're publishing with a company called O'Reilly, and they are really one of the leaders in technical publishing, but also one of the leaders in technical training and media. And they sell ebooks, obviously. Everybody does these days, but they have made it a point that all of their ebooks are unrestricted. So you can download it and install it on your Kindle, and if for whatever reason you get rid of a Kindle, you can read it on your laptop, or even if you keep your Kindle, load it on your laptop, load it on your desktop, load it on all your machines without any restrictions. And these restrictions are called DRM, or Digital Restrictions Management, that you find on other media. So, things like the Google Play Store, things like iTunes, things like Blu-ray discs. All of them have methods that prevent you from using what you have legally paid for in the way that you wish to legally use it. So if you have a copy of your Blu-ray disc, you trying to make a copy of that is restricted in a lot of ways. Stuff that you download through Google Play Store, many of it is restricted in how you can use it. O'Reilly doesn't believe in that. So all of their stuff is DRM free, and in commemoration of what's known as a day without DRM, they have lowered the price on all of their ebooks with use of a code 50%. So if you buy it today until 8 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, you can get 50% off every ebook that you order through O'Reilly.
And it's right there on their front page.
You can't miss it. Shop.O'Reilly.com.
It's in bright yellow. So there we go. The worst example of DRM abuse I ever saw was a discussion of whether you should have the right to make a backup copy of your movie. And I think it was Jack Valenti, who was head of the Motion Picture Association of America, the MPAA, at the time. He said, no. He said, you buy a DVD. If you break it, you buy another one. And I was like, okay, you've lost me. I
think actually one of the worst examples of DRM that's currently in force is Keurig is putting DRM on some of their new coffee pods.
Now there's going to be a run on the non-DRM coffee pods, right?
Yep.
Because their patent ran out on the K-Cups. So anyway, the book, I have not been a developer since about 94, and my game came out in 93, and I'm like an old Fox Pro, DBase, Pascal guy, former high school teacher. I taught BASIC and Pascal, and so I have no business reading this book, but I bought the book. I'm sure I'm going to get into parts that I will not understand, but I've actually been looking for typos and stuff because Jason and Alan are my friends, and they'd given me one, but I bought it because I wanted to support the book. So I've been looking for little typos and stuff, and it's early release version, so you get it now, and then there's stuff in there like make sure, Jason, we update the page numbers. You'll get, it's kind of neat. You get a background version. It's like you're inside the loop, and then the professional or the final version comes out in December, but you'll get that free. The final release bundle you get included, and you get every major revision in the meantime. So there's no reason not to buy it today. It's half the price, and you get everything that everyone's going to pay $40 for in December. So do it. Now buy it. But it's a really good book, and I haven't said that to Alan. Right up till this point, I've looked for errors because I'm a newspaper editor, so I can edit stuff. But it's a good read. It's interesting about his philosophy, about
we tried to make it interesting. I mean, certainly the first part of the book is intended to be trying to help people understand glass as a whole.
That this is a very different thing from everything you've coded for before, and why
it is.
And that you better not be too obtrusive, that this is a peripheral device that's there. The analogy I made before, your rearview mirror. It's not something you want in your face. It's there when you need it, and you want it really close by when you need it, but only when you need it. And that if you think in those terms, I think you call it think for glass or something. What's the phrase?
We talk about thinking for glass.
Yeah, and that's a whole thing. I recommend you buy it. Obviously. So that's my whoring myself out for my friend Alan. I think I did a good job there. So there we go. So now Pam and Kadeaus are going to try to write something so I can whore myself out for them, and they can get free copy editing services. The only reason, don't tell Alan, but the only reason I'm actually copy editing the book is so that Alan believes that I actually read the book. Because otherwise... I think I joked that they were going to send me a version in Spanish and see how long it takes for me to realize it's not in English, because I'd be so clueless. But it's actually a wonderful narrative so far. So anyway,
it is a very readable book, though. I mean, we didn't try to write all of it for the hardcore programmer. We meant it for people to help them understand glass.
And again, you have until, if you're watching this live, if you're watching this recorded, you may be screwed. But I'll tell you, just in case, they may extend it the way I'd give it a shot. Even if you watch this after 5 a.m., you might as well give it a shot. The code is right here, DRM 2014, all one word, right? And you don't even have to put HTTP ahead of it, but it is all one word. DRM 2014. And it may work after 5 a.m. I mean, worth a shot, right? If you catch this at 5:30, then maybe they'll be flexible. I don't know. But probably not. So you should get off the can, put down your iPad, and buy the book. All right, our first story tonight. Let's talk about Android. What do you think? Our first story tonight is this rumored Android Silver. So there's a couple stories we linked to. I think one is The Verge, and one is one of the Android sites. So tell us, what is this? Apparently they're going to rebrand what they've been calling the Nexus, according to this rumor. Do you buy it? What's the deal?
Well, it sounds like it isn't so much rebranding the Nexus, but kind of changing track a little on it. When they launched the Nexus program, they kind of tried to say the Nexus is going to be a new way of buying and using smartphones. So it was going to be this website that would make it really easy to just buy a smartphone for whatever carrier, and it would just work. And it never turned into that, because the carriers were pains. And then the Nexus became the kind of demonstration phone for Android, for each version of Android as it came out. And, nobody really cared, because Samsung put their own crap on it, so everyone else did as well. And the Nexus is, they were popular among Android geeks, but not very popular among everybody else. Now it sounds like what they're trying to do is actually create phones that will be popular for everybody, that will have a relatively uniform styling. So even Samsung phones are going to have minimal crap applied to it. Even phones that are sold through a carrier, and it sounds like they're trying to appeal to the carriers now for some stupid reason, even the phones sold from the carriers won't have all of the crap on it. I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I'm cautiously pessimistic about it, though, to be honest. What do you think, Kadeaus?
I don't really want the Nexus brand to go. It's been kind of my thing I stand by for the longest. As far as it actually leaving, though, I've been a little skeptical on it only because of where we're getting the information. So I don't think it's going. Plus, I mean, they're halfway through the production of the next one. I would, at least to my understanding. So I don't know. I don't see this going. But I was hearing that they were saying it was going to be a kind of a premium line. Is that kind of what you were getting as well? It's gonna be kind of,
that's what I heard as well. It's going to be a premium line, and I've heard rumors that Google's going to subsidize it, so it's a premium line at a not so premium price. And I don't know. Everyone's guessing.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But Android Silver was actually confirmed by Google, wasn't it? Or that's not even confirmed?
I don't know. I haven't seen it confirmed, but it just may be that I didn't read that particular bit of rumor because I generally don't care.
Yeah, me too. I kind of hop away from them usually. So, but yeah, no, I don't. Me personally, I love the Nexus brand, minus the Bluetooth issue they need to fix that I've been screaming about for 3 iterations, and I would love for it to stay. Just fix the Bluetooth issue.
I don't know. I think my biggest concern about what it sounds like they're talking about, the biggest thing I liked about the Nexus brand, or about the Google Play edition of everything else, is that you're buying an unlocked phone. There are strong hints that these silver editions will be carrier bound. Now they haven't come straight out and said that, and nobody's coming out and saying that. But that's the implication I get when they talk about working with the carriers. So I gotta wonder if the brilliant part of the Nexus was that you would be able to take these phones everywhere. And if you can't do that, I'm sorry. You just, I think that's a mistake.
You think when you say with the carriers, are you thinking it's going to be some sort of hybrid where before it was if you got a Nexus phone, you couldn't use it on Sprint, you could use it on AT&T Mobile or T-Mobile or Verizon.
You couldn't even do that because the T-Mobile AT&T version were different than the Verizon version.
Okay, that's just because Verizon is technology. So
the advantage of the Play edition or the Nexus phone was you were getting a pure Android thing and you were getting a rapid update.
No, there were several advantages to the Nexus program. You were getting a pure phone, you were getting the rapid upgrade, you were getting an unlocked phone. And from that you had 2 things. One is that you could take it to any carrier that you wanted. And that includes worldwide. Worldwide they're doing much better at this than we are. So you didn't need it to be it didn't need to be unlocked if you were carrying it worldwide. It was already unlocked.
But isn't that the least attractive for most people of the advantages? Because, I'm not going to switch carriers on a dime, but I am interested in rapid updates, and I'm interested in
usually it's more for travelers,
less bloatware. Yeah.
No, like for people who travel, like if you're here now, you're in Canada, and you need to use Fido or one of the other ones. If you have to make
a TV appearance in Japan again, for example, Kadeaus.
Okay.
The other thing is you're not paying the extra for the contract phone. We've already seen T-Mobile starting to move away from the concept of a contract phone. So why they picked this moment to get rid of the non-contract phone line, I don't know.
Maybe the carriers are pushing back, or maybe they're going to release a version that is pure Android. Almost pure Android plus, like might have the Sprint Zone or the AT&T store, you know what I mean? But basically a pure Android with just a few extra added apps, and they're gonna try to get the carriers on board so that they don't have to worry about, because it's an expense and a hassle for carriers to have to go through and release their own version of Android. It pisses customers off because there's delays and there's an expense attached to it.
But
so
here's
what
the
if they
thing.
could kind of have a hybrid between a pure phone
But actually,
with
that
no
makes sense.
bloatware. You know what I mean?
That actually, Dan, actually kind of makes sense because that's probably what they're probably trying to get a handle on all of this extra stuff that's added on top of. I mean, that would explain why Samsung and Google's made their little agreement, and now they need to get one with the carriers, so then that way they're not taking over the whole entire device. That actually makes probably more what the Android Silver program is more leaning towards than it is anything else.
Then they would get wider. They would get vastly wider adoption because the Play versions and the Nexus versions have been niche at best as far as like what most people have. They're not pushing the numbers out that like the major carrier versions of the phones. What if they could come up with a hybrid? Because the carriers don't want you to just buy your phone and be able to hop, skip, and jump anywhere you want. They want you locked in for a deal. So if they can get a piece of that market, which is growing, although it's small now, they can see people like it, and at the same time, they can save the cost of having to create their own, whole version, and take 6 months and 300 developers and all this crap.
Here's the thing: the manufacturers want to create their own version. They've got no incentive to do rapid upgrades.
They do have an incentive to, if they can save the cost of having to do their own version and just replace their own version with
but they
apps.
do want to do that.
But Dan, they want their own version.
Right.
Why?
I mean, go ahead and look at, what was it, the new Nexus 7 or the Nexus 5 or whatever that Verizon didn't allow on its network for who knows how long? Have they even allowed it yet?
I think that they have historically wanted their own version, but it would not surprise me in the least if they suddenly realize, you know what? Most of the bloatware stuff that we do could be accomplished with simple Android apps. So we could take the stock version of Android and just, we'll get a heads up, a pre-release version, and we'll edit our apps, and so they'll work. And so we can still sell a Sprint phone that is basically like a Nexus phone or now a Silver phone, and we'll just put, like in my case, the Sprint Zone and whatever, the Sprint missing phone locator app. And instead of building it into the OS, they could just have apps that are compatible with it, and they will save a fortune in time and labor, and potential headaches having to give tech support, and just when Google updates the new version within a week or two, they can just fix their apps to adapt to it, and they would save a mountain of cash and be able to offer people a newer version faster, and save money in the process. So the customer's happy, they're saving money, and they still can put their apps on there by default. I think it's a win-win. I think this makes perfect sense. Because I think just because they've done it up till now doesn't mean that they're not seeing that, it'd be kind of cool if we let Google do our development for us and pay for it, and we just like rolled it out and stuck our apps on top rather than redoing the operating system and taking 6 months and spending $3 million in the process. That's my view. Pam, I know you're a developer in waiting. What are your thoughts on this?
Anything that gets rid of the bloatware, I'm all for.
I just Okay.
So if that's what this does, then I'm good.
And I apologize. I just realized my mouse was in front of everyone's face on my laptop, because I know Gerwin complained once. I think it was Gerwin complained that he said, I kept thinking it was my mouse, and I kept like moving my mouse to try to get rid of it, and it wouldn't move. I thought my Bluetooth or my whatever is broken. Okay. Yeah. If I'm with Pam. I hope I'm right. I'm usually wrong, but I hope I'm right in this case. So there. Any other thoughts on this? I know Alan's in a hurry to get to it. I think he's going to a book signing or something, or a party with famous published authors.
Nah, much more fun than that.
To which we are not invited, but Alan is. Okay, so next up, now it's a lot easier for you to quickly find, edit, and create documents, spreadsheets, and presentations on the go. Introducing mobile apps for docs and sheets with slides on the way. I have installed these. I've not yet used them. I was busy this week, so I want to see what you guys think. I've heard good reviews thus far.
I don't know. I played with the docs one a little bit. It's fine. Works
All they did
about
was
the
just
same as the other one.
Did they just
What, Kadeaus?
separate? They just separated it, right? They just moved it out outside of Drive, right? They didn't add any real new features to the thing
Well,
other
the
than
big new feature they added is it works better in offline mode now.
offline mode. Okay. So that was that.
And when you start it up, it starts up pretty nicely.
So my complaint on this is that I miss being able to do it through Drive.
You can still do it through Drive.
Well, they disabled the edit feature. So you just
No,
probably
it's
haven't
supposed
got
to launch the external app now.
Yeah, so it's kind of disappointing to me. I like kind of editing it through the Drive app, but I see why this is more practical, so I'm not against it. I'm glad they did it. Some things shouldn't be integrated, and so yeah, this shouldn't have been integrated, I guess.
Well, I'm a little surprised that edit doesn't work because it really should just launch the external app.
Well, I think what needs to happen then is I just need to update the Drive app. It's probably all
Yeah.
that's that's probably all that's left.
You're not able to edit documents? What are you talking about?
They removed the edit feature out of Drive. So now when you go, Alan's saying that now when you click on it to edit it in Drive, it takes you to the app on the outside if you're inside of the Drive app. Because these are two separate apps now, or three. These are total of three separate apps. You went from Drive to Drive and then Docs and Sheets, or yeah, whatever. So it's multiple apps now. It's not one. Originally, you could do everything inside the Drive app. Now there are multiple apps to do the same tasks.
What's the purpose of this?
Because that's how everybody else has been doing it, I would think. Microsoft's got, instead of having Office, they have Word and Excel. And when they released on iOS, that's kind of what they did. So I kind of feel like they did that to kind of show, hey, we do have these apps that do exist as well. Would you say that would be the same, Alan?
I think that's part of it. I think it's also part of it is just management of the system, so that if they have a fix, they don't have to do regression testing on three apps. They just need to do regression testing on one app.
That's
So
true.
if they find bugs in Docs, they can just keep fixing the Docs bugs and not worry about did they just accidentally break something in Sheets while they were at it.
This is the kind of thing that is the best argument for a Google Fiber or for everyone to get really fast broadband, because there are so many applications that are just not practical online. Like when we lay out our newspaper, or if you're doing collaborative video editing, it just is not responsive enough. If you try to do something in the cloud, it's not as full featured. But if we can get enough bandwidth, then these apps can really be, become full featured. And you won't have to get InDesign or what have you.
Craig Ship making a guest appearance on our Android Week.
No, I'm just saying.
No, this is Dan always calling these apps ghetto.
Well,
I
ghetto
use
for
them.
2 years now.
They're not. They're not ghetto. They're very useful, but they're limited. But I cannot produce my newspaper in Google Drive or Docs.
well,
I cannot
Dan,
edit a video.
You have to have magnification vision to be able to do anything that labor intensive or site intensive on a phone anyway. You really cannot have your iPhone, which is like half.
Okay, I was referring to
You know what I mean?
to the Docs in general on a desktop. I was carrying it over to that. I was making a leap. I definitely, even in 2024, I don't think I'll be able to lay out a newspaper on my phone. But you never know. Those crazy Asians, they might come up with something, right?
Well, hopefully that industry will be dead. Remember?
No, what are you talking about, Kadeaus?
He's like, oh no.
No, I got my. We're all for killing trees and ink by the barrel, paper by the ton. Okay, next up, Google now remembers where you parked, gains offline cards, indoor maps, and Pam's favorite, or actually Kadeaus' favorite, I should say, because he's the slave to fashion here. shopping reminders. So what's this about?
Pretty much exactly what you said. Update to Google Now. So it gets a bunch of new cards, new actions. I think the most notable ones are the fact that it has offline support now. So if you're offline, the cards that were up stay there. So if you've got a reminder or whatever already loaded, it won't go away just because you're offline. And that was one of the problems that you had that we saw before. The other interesting one in my mind are what they call product search reminders. So if you did something like search for a product, you search for a power saw or an egg beater or whatever, and Google now sees that you're near a store that sells that product, it will send an alert telling you that fact. So it's, once again, doing that contextual computing that we've talked about a number of times, adding the fact that it knows where you are and knows what you're looking for and knows where to find it and puts all of these pieces together to your benefit and, to the retailer's benefit. So those are the notably cool features I saw. You see anything on this one, Pam, that you liked?
Remember where my car is parked is probably a good one. Product search reminders don't really impress. I mean, for me, if I search for stuff just at random, I just, I don't really search for stuff I want to buy.
You're a random kind of person.
Okay,
Yeah,
I got a truth or dare question for Pam. Be honest. Have you ever walked out of the shopping mall or the Walmart or Kroger, whatever you guys have in California, besides earthquakes, and you couldn't find your car, and you held your hand up high with your key thing, and you double-clicked your lock so it would beep to find your vehicle? Admit it.
Oh, totally. I actually set off the panic thing so the alarm goes off. Make sure it's my car.
That's a good protection thing to put on your nightstand. You just have to replace your battery frequently and just hit the panic button. If someone breaks in to rob you, you just hit the panic button, they freak out. It'll work all the way through your house.
Yeah,
So
I have an alarm system that works all through my house.
I have a 357 Magnum with hollow points, which
Well,
also works throughout my house.
We're not even that's the once they get into your house response, but
Indeed.
yeah. Hopefully the alarm will scare them away. That thing is freaking loud. But
Any other thoughts on the Google Now remembering where you parked, etc., etc.?
so I really like Google Now, and I've been waiting for them to do more interesting things with it. I think this is a step in the right direction. I really do. I mean, if I was searching for something special, like I need a pair of hiking boots, if I went and searched online for hiking boots and they want to show me, hey, this store's got hiking boots, that would be fine. But I think that Google Now has been underutilized, and I'm glad that they're doing more stuff with it. I really think it'll be good.
I heartily agree with Pam. We've talked about how it's a brilliant idea and it's just, not quite there yet. Bit by bit, we're seeing these things where it's adding, not just, delivering information. Oh, hey, you've told me you like, the Yankees, so I'll keep pestering you about the Yankees. We're actually seeing, useful contextual information, combining a lot of pieces that Google knows about you to help you.
Well, this is a multi-platform service if there ever was one, right, though, Alan? I mean, this is part of the phone system now. It's part of, I guess, Chrome, although I don't ever see it. I'm not sure how you do it on Chrome. I think they added it. It's also for Android Wear and for Glass. So there's a big push to up the game in Google Now alerts, because on all of their platforms, it's timely contextual information. Geospecific, the whole deal.
So I disabled the desktop version of Google Now because it kept me logged in, and I didn't like that if I closed my computer. What I would like to see, though, is if I do a search on desktop, I'm more likely to do a search when I'm sitting at home on my desktop, but signed in to my Google account. Have that port over to the Android.
That should happen, absolutely.
Search
Yeah.
results?
I'm not seeing that happen. If I search for something on my phone, it shows up on Google now. Like I typed in, I wanted to know something about what was it? Game of Thrones, I think it was. And so it was reminding me, Game of Thrones comes on tonight. Game of Thrones comes on tonight. But I searched on my phone, and I searched for hiking boots, and also the Chicago White Sox, I think it was, on my desktop, and I'm not getting. Now, I tell you, if I search on my phone for any sports team, I get like every single notification you could possibly imagine for that sports team, and it didn't port over to my.
I got that, Pam. I think I did on desktop though. When the Clippers guy, the racist dude story, I was posting on that, and I was doing a desktop search. First, I posted on Google Plus that the extended version, if the original version wasn't offensive enough, here's the longer version for you to, complete your aghast. And I looked up the Clippers. I Googled Clippers team picture, team photo members to try to figure out like how many blacks and whites are on the team, right? Because I figured it was like 90% black, right? And I just wanted to see it, to see, because like, why would the guy buy a freaking basketball team if he's like some racist dude? I was like, this is mind-boggling. And then from then on, I'd gotten almost twice daily updates about the Clippers. Like they thought I cared about the Clippers, a team that I'm embarrassed to admit, all 5'7" of me, I'm not even sure I was aware of existed prior to this story, right? So I could give a damn about their scores. But yeah, that's a bug because you should be able to, for example, say on desktop, you should Google. Let's say you're looking for an outlet mall near you, and you Google, what's the map directions. When you get to your phone, it should say that. It should figure out that you want to do that. So, Alan, is that a bug? Probably. Is there something she can, if someone else is having this issue?
It sounds like a bug or a miscommunication or something weird, but it should be working.
Okay. But now is an integral part of Glass, correct?
Yes, although not every part of Now shows up on Glass at this point.
But the whole
they're add more
backbone,
and more all the time, but Now is very much a part of Glass.
So Now is a part of Glass, Android Wear, their general wearable thing. Now the desktop, although I don't see it, and it's also part of mobile, of course, which is where it originated. So I think that we're going to see rapid advances, frequent and dramatic, significant advances in Now, and hopefully they'll fix Pam's bug. Because as we've learned throughout these programs, if Pam ain't happy, nobody's happy. All right, latest usage statistics are out. Are we getting clobbered by iOS, Alan?
I don't know. I don't care either. That's not what the usage statistics show us, though. They show us Android penetration, how much each version of Android is being used.
We always try to do an Android penetration segment anytime.
So this is for Pam, yes.
Anytime it's appropriate for our family program. So what are the latest numbers? Is Gingerbread still, lingering over us like a vulture?
Gingerbread is down to 16.2%. Froyo is down to 1%. So finally, all of the people like Pam and myself and my coworker who were stuck on Froyo for a long time finally ditched it in favor of greener pastures. Gingerbread's still hanging in there at 16%. Kit Kat is up to 8.5%, and I believe last month it was 5 or 6%. So that's a decent growth. Jelly Bean combined is still 30, 40, 50, like 60 some odd percent. So Jelly Bean combined is still overwhelming everything else.
So, are you correct? Is what you said before still the case where you said there are some companies still releasing low-end phones with gingerbread on them? Is that accurate?
Yep.
Because there's no police for this, right? It's an open source thing. Anybody can use it. You just have to comply with certain rules in order to get certain Google services on your phone. But in general, anybody could take it, just like Amazon did and created the Kindle and etc. They're still selling phones with gingerbread.
Sure, they don't need to do any more development. This is phones that have been they were built 3 years ago. They just they've never had a need to upgrade them. They're selling it to people who are upgrading from a feature phone, if that. These are people who might like a pull-out keyboard, because you don't see those using with modern Android anymore. Because for some bizarre reason, all of the manufacturers are trying to create, 21-inch phablets, and market this as something that is good when it isn't. So if you want some of these smaller phones, you're forced to go with an older version.
Yeah, I love my Note 2, but it is not a easy one-handed device. I am a phablet owner. Phablet. Only Alan can say that correctly.
Phablet.
Alan, I swear to God, he should be on SNL.
Didn't you see Daffy Duck growing up? It's just fabulous.
Thuffer and Thuckatath or whatever. Pam, would you like to add anything to our usage statistics conversation?
The Android penetration conversation?
Yeah. Well, I tell you
Alan's
what,
a better salesperson than I am.
KitKat hasn't penetrated me yet, and I'm pissed about it.
Yeah, I understand, Alan. What was that thing that the new app or whatever? I'm trying to think. What was that new app that came out last couple weeks?
Wait, you mean that app, not that app?
The one that it's
the
an Android app. The thing,
It does that thing?
Yeah, but it doesn't work on my Nexus 7. I thought my Nexus 7 was supposed to have the newest, most asbestos thing.
Yeah?
What's the deal?
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I wish I did.
Yeah, we wish that a lot, Dan.
I wish
As I
one of
say,
us
we
knew
have
what
to
I was
know-
talking about. So,
We'd have to know what the app was. What does
I don't
it
think
do?
I'm going to be on 60 Minutes as one of those super memory people anytime soon. Just a rough
I'd have
guess
to agree
there.
with that.
Okay, so so that happened. 15 seconds of your life you can never have back. Next up is a major Google Maps update includes Uber integration, the popular and very controversial taxi cab service, which gets independent contractor drivers. You can order up a cab with your phone. You can pay with your phone. The tip's built in. It's kind of like eBay and Amazon in that you can rate the cab driver and they can rate you, although that's only internal to the other drivers. But it's kind of like an eBay system, and it's just like taxi cabs 2.0. So they're adding integration there. Of course, the 1.0 taxi cabs are not big fans of Uber, so they're fighting them tooth and nail. Very similar to the problems that my beloved Tesla is having, trying to simply sell cars to eager consumers in America and are getting beat up over it by the legacy car dealers. Better transit info and more contained in the new Google Maps update. So what's the deal with this?
Got a whole pile of interesting stuff. So let's see. Improved navigation instructions. So it now has lane recommendations. It'll tell you what lane you should be in. New search options so you can filter based on the sorts of things you're looking for, restaurant hours, those kinds of things. The transit options and Uber integration is interesting, and it bugs me in some ways. And the reason why it bugs me is a long time ago, several versions of Maps ago, somebody in New York created a really, really good Maps integration with the subway system. And it would tell you not just, where the subway was, but, what exits came out of the subway, and if you wanted to go uptown, which entrance you needed to go in, and those sorts of things. And that's gone in the current version. It was gone for a while, and it almost came back, and it's still not quite there. So it kind of frustrates me that Google, replaces some functionality with almost but not quite. So here Google has said, hey, we're going to create an integration with Uber, but all of you other guys, no, we're not going to create an integration with you. So, I don't know. I like it. It's cool. I think Uber is a cool idea. I think these sound like some interesting improvements. But overall, I don't like Google picking favorites either. You have any thoughts on this, Pam or Kadeaus? Pam? Guess not. Okay.
I think, well, quick. I think that it's not that difficult to at least integrate the local transit wherever you are. I mean, when you say difficult, the Uber thing is difficult because at any point, Joe Blow might be taking the day off. He might be across town or whatever. I mean, how do you integrate something like that? And you can't even, download the bus schedule from your major cities. You know what I mean? So I think that there are, if they could figure out a way to take let's say I took Amtrak all the time, if they could figure out a way to to create the Amtrak app, and integrate that with Maps, that would be great. I mean, Maps has a transit button. It just doesn't work. You know what I mean? At least it doesn't work
works for me. But
it doesn't work in my area, but I don't live in New York City.
Hopefully,
Right.
the innovations that they're doing and publicizing will cause more municipalities to get with the program and integrate.
But Dan, that's the problem.
I don't
It's
think
not the municipalities needing to get with the program. It's Google needing to take the data from the municipalities in some way.
I'll draw an
Right. I mean,
analogy. Right. I'll draw an analogy here.
Interns are free, right? Interns are free. How long does it take for an intern to download the data from 50
But that's
major...
duplicate data entry is the cardinal sin of all programming. Just like the comma splice, which I only found one of in Alan's book, is the cardinal sin of the English language. Two independent clauses that could stand alone with a comma and or some sort of conjunction.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was a dig to send Alan. Okay, so the here in Front Royal, Warren County, with Warren County Report newspaper, I'm lucky that the town and the county and the visitor center and all these different entities all use Google Calendar, which has a great way you can incorporate multiple calendars into your own aggregate calendar. And then we actually print that in the paper. We take like 2 full pages and we put their stuff in there because they take the time to do that, and we're all on the same platform. I'm able to easily extract that data into the paper. So they benefit because I'm printing their events for free, the town council meetings or an event at the visitor center, and I don't have to hire an intern. I don't. It's all live API stuff. So I think the more
Dan, I think I speak for all of us when I say, what the hell are you talking about?
Where did that come from?
no, we're talking about this
We're talking about Google Maps, and you went off on Google Calendar.
No, we're talking about Uber and stuff, and Pam was saying that you can hire an intern to extract the data, and I'm saying that by them promoting maps, and the ability to integrate stuff, it will encourage more municipalities like transit systems, etc., to do so. And I've seen that on the local level with Google with Calendar.
Dan, are you listening to me at all?
I am listening
Like
to you. Alan.
ever?
Yes.
You're reading my book, but you're not listening to me? The problem, though, is with Google Maps, your municipality can't just say, oh, we want to publish the schedule for the bus route in Google Maps. You can't do it. There's no way for you to do it. If you want your municipality's bus schedule to show up as part of the transit information for Google Maps, you have to ask Google to do it. And that's what I'm saying the problem is.
They should have an easy way for you to. They should create a whole, a platform or website formula for this.
Yes.
Maybe you were saying that earlier.
Yes.
So we're both right. Oh. Oh my God. Oh dear. All right, that's gonna be a clip for our show reel on like our 5th anniversary or whatever. When he literally strangled me on air. All right, so any thoughts on this is our last topic, and I don't think anyone has an app of the week. Any thoughts?
That's okay, 'cause we're almost out of time.
We are. Any thoughts on the whole thing where Uber and Aereo and what's the other one? These disruptive technologies in general are getting so much pushback everywhere. Tesla cannot sell cars in certain states. They can have a showroom. They cannot discuss price because of these built-in things where you have to have a independent dealer based on 1930 rules where there were these fly-by-night car companies and people got screwed, and so they said you had to have a local dealer so you could go in with a baseball bat and beat somebody's knees if you got screwed. But it's clearly protectionism on a municipal, in some cases, or state level in other cases. Any thoughts about this? Because I'm shocked that as advanced as we are and as much as we have progressed and as much as we love science, that these obvious innovations...
I'm sorry, Dan. What country are you talking about?
We're in the Straits of Kumar, right?
I mean, look, we have import tariffs on everything from tea to shrimp. So what are you talking about? Protectionism is what America's all about.
And always has been.
God bless America and fuck everyone else. That's what it is. So why would you think municipalities would be any different?
I just am surprised that in this day and age, that this country, which was our revolution was spawned on, the tea tax, to use your analogy, Pam, that in 2014 we still are seeing council members with a straight face advocating to lock up Uber drivers because they're not just like the yellow cabs of yesteryear. And we're seeing Tesla unable to simply sell a car to a willing customer, the car that's been rated the #1 car in America, the safest car ever tested by Consumer Reports. We're seeing example after example of this. I'm just surprised that we have not finally that intelligence hasn't won out. I'm kind of disappointed. I'm just
this is America, and you're surprised that intelligence hasn't won out. Really?
Dan, I thought you've lived all over the world and in Japan and all these countries.
I was born in Japan.
So you're not getting how restrictive we are here.
I mean, you're in California, so that's a whole different thing. You're basically, people.
You're trying to say
Pe-
California's not a part of the union?
I'm saying it is part of the union. It's, the
So what? So again,
the
it's the
People's
same.
Republic of California is a proud part of the United States. I'm just saying that it's 2014, and I hope at some point when disruptive things happen, and I'm not being a hypocrite here. I own a newspaper, right? So I'm in a dying industry, right? I'm a captain of a dying industry. So I have multiple threats on my business. And so I'm sitting here advocating for adopting these new technologies. So I'm uniquely poised to make this point. And I just am disappointed that we've come so far, and yet at the same time, we still see city council members with a straight face trying to explain why Uber should be banned, why Tesla should not be able to be sold, and they're coming up with absolute bullshit reasons that are clearly designed to just protect the incumbents. I mean, out of self motivation, I would be totally, uh, in lockstep with them if I were a hypocrite, right? Because I'm a newspaper publisher, which is, not modern technology. But I don't know. It's just frustrating. Any final thoughts at all about anything before I launch into my radio voice and sue the people into watching our program every week? Folks, we appreciate you watching tonight. This program is Our Android Week. It's every Monday, unless it's not, in which case it's Tuesday. We should change it. Should we change it to Tuesday?
No.
Kadeaus wants Tuesday. I want Tuesday. What do you think, Pam?
Personally, I think we'll get more viewers on a Tuesday.
So it's 3-1, but Alan is cranky. So
Hey Dan, this
we'll
is an
keep it on.
off-the-show conversation. Unless you're gonna take a vote.
I'm for transparency.
Take a vote, but we'll do what we want.
All right, so tune in to Our Android Week on Monday, unless it's not,
God.
and then it's on Tuesday,
6
9
p.m.
p.m.
Pacific.
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. That's the West Coast. East Coast, West Coast.
We're not a part of the union, remember?
There you are. People's Republic of California. Arnold. All right, so also we do another excellent program, the flagship program of our little network, if you will. Google Plus Week is Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on YouTube Live and Google Plus. We thank you very much for watching. We thank you for your comments, and we want to wish you all a very happy and wonderful Android Week. Thanks.